The day my son opened his eyes and screamed, I knew someone had done something impossible. My name is Robert, and 3 months ago I would have paid any amount of money to hear my boy cry like that. A real cry. Not the quiet whimper of a child trapped in darkness, but the shocked wail of someone seeing light for the very first time. But when I found out who made it happen, everything I believed about the world shattered like glass. Let me take you back to where this all started. Because you need to understand what kind of father I was before that day, the kind who threw money at problems, the kind who thought wealth could fix anything, the kind who was so wrong. Hey friends, thank you so much for stopping by. Don't forget to comment where you are watching from. Someone close to you might be watching too. Like, share, subscribe, and tap the notification bell so you never miss a story. Make sure to watch till the very end because the final twist is something you definitely don't want to miss. So let's continue. My son Oliver was born blind. Not the kind of blindness doctors could fix with surgery, or the kind that came from an accident. His optic nerves never formed right. The specialists used big words that all meant the same thing. Your boy will never see a sunrise, never see your face, never see the world everyone else takes for granted. I didn't accept it. How could I? I built a tech empire from nothing. Started in a garage with an idea and turned it into billions. If I could do that, I could fix my son's eyes. So I tried everything. Flew Oliver to Switzerland, Germany, Japan. The best doctors, the newest treatments, experimental procedures that cost more than most people earn in a lifetime. I bought equipment for hospitals, funded research, wrote checks with so many zeros my accountant had to call me twice to confirm I meant it. Nothing worked. My wife left when Oliver turned 4, said I cared more about fixing him than loving him as he was. Maybe she was right. I was obsessed. Every failed treatment felt like a personal insult. I was Robert Ashford. I didn't lose, I didn't accept defeat, but you can't bully biology into submission, no matter how much money you throw at it. By the time Oliver turned 8, I'd tried everything medical science offered. I had one doctor left on my list, one final hope. Dr. Sarah Kim in Seattle, pioneering work with stem cells and nerve regeneration. She'd restored partial sight to 3 patients, 3 out of hundreds, but 3 was better than 0. I called her office 17 times in one day until she agreed to see us. That's when I hired James to help us. James was 19, thin as a rail, with dark skin and eyes that had seen too much too young. He showed up at my office building asking about the assistant position I'd posted, needed someone to help Oliver during the Seattle trip, help him navigate, keep him company during the long hospital days, that sort of thing. I almost didn't hire him. His clothes were worn, shoes had holes in them, and his address was in the roughest part of the city, the kind of neighborhood where gunshots were just background noise. But Oliver was in my office that day, and when James walked in, my son did something he rarely did with strangers. He smiled. You smell like outside, Oliver said, tilting his head the way he did when he was curious. James laughed. Not a polite laugh, but a real one. Yeah, I walk everywhere, can't afford the bus most days. What's it like walking everywhere? Honest? It's tiring, but you see things, hear things. There's this bakery on 5th Street that throws out fresh bread every evening, and the birds in the park sound different in the morning than at night. You notice stuff when you're moving slow. Oliver leaned forward. Tell me more. They talked for 20 minutes while I pretended to review James's blank resume. The kid had dropped out of high school to take care of his sick mom, worked odd jobs, never had anything handed to him. Everything about him screamed risk. But Oliver was laughing. Really laughing, so I hired him on the spot. Biggest decision of my life, though I didn't know it yet. We flew to Seattle on a Tuesday. Oliver sat between James and me on the private jet, asking James 1,000 questions about everything. What do clouds look like? How do you know when food is cooked? What's the ocean sound like up close? James answered every single one with patience I didn't have anymore. He described colors using feelings. Blue was calm like deep breathing. Red was angry like heartbeat in your ears. Yellow was warm like sun on your face. I listened and realized my son knew more about the world from 3 hours with James than from 8 years with me. We stayed in a hotel near the hospital. Oliver and James shared a room at Oliver's insistence. I took the suite next door and spent the nights on calls with my company, pretending everything was fine while my stomach twisted with hope and fear. The first day at Dr. Kim's clinic, they ran tests for 6 hours. Scans, blood work, reflex checks. Oliver sat through all of it without complaining, holding James's hand when the needles came out. On day 3, Dr. Kim called me into her office alone. "Mr. Ashford, I've reviewed everything twice. I'm sorry, but Oliver isn't a candidate for the procedure." The words hit like a punch. "What? Why not?" "His optic nerve damage is too severe. Even with stem cell regeneration, there's nothing for the nerves to connect to. His retina's never developed properly either. I can't create something from nothing. There has to be something, anything." She looked at me with pity I wanted to scrape off her face. "Sometimes we have to accept what we can't change. Your son seems happy. Maybe it's time to focus on that instead of chasing impossible cures." I left her office feeling like I'd been hollowed out. 8 years. Hundreds of millions of dollars. Every expert in the world. And the answer was still no. I went back to the hotel room and told James to take Oliver to get ice cream or something. I needed to be alone. Needed to figure out what came next. How do you tell your son you failed him? They left, and I sat in that expensive hotel room and cried for the first time since Oliver was born. They came back 3 hours later. I'd pulled myself together by then, practiced the speech I'd give Oliver about how we'd tried our best, and he was perfect as he was. All the things I should have said years ago. But when they walked in, something was different. James looked nervous. Oliver looked excited. "Dad, James took me somewhere," Oliver said. "Somewhere amazing." "Where?" James shifted on his feet. "There's this community center in the south part of the city, place I heard about from a guy at the ice cream shop. They help people for free. I thought maybe—" "You took my son to some random center without asking me?" "I'm sorry, Mr. Ashford, but this lady there, she did something I can't explain." My anger flared. "What lady? What did she do?" Oliver grabbed my hand. "Dad, she touched my eyes and they got warm, really warm, and I saw something." My heart stopped. What? Not like seeing, but like light. For just a second I saw light, bright and gold. Then it went away, but Dad, it was there. I looked at James. "What is this? Some kind of scam?" "No, sir, I don't know what it was. This woman, her name was Helen. Old lady runs this center helping poor folks. She looked at Oliver and said she'd pray for him, put her hands on his face and prayed." Oliver said his eyes burned for a second, then he said he saw light. "Praying? You're telling me some random woman prayed and my son saw light?" "I know how it sounds. This is ridiculous, probably power of suggestion or some hallucination. Oliver, sweetheart, sometimes our brains make us think we experienced something we didn't." But Oliver shook his head hard. "It was real, Dad. I saw it. Can we go back? Please." Every logical part of my brain screamed, no. This was nonsense. Snake oil. False hope served up by people who preyed on desperate families. But I'd just spent 8 years chasing science and gotten nowhere. "Fine," I heard myself say. "Tomorrow. We'll go tomorrow." The community center was in a neighborhood that made my driver nervous. Cracked sidewalks, buildings with broken windows, people sitting on stoops with hollow eyes. This was James's world. The world my money had always kept me far away from. Inside, the center was clean but worn. Folding tables, mismatched chairs, a kitchen serving free meals. Mothers with kids, old folks, people who looked like they'd been kicked by life and kept getting up. Helen was sweeping the floor. She was maybe 70, black hair going grey, wearing a simple dress and shoes that had been repaired a dozen times. When she saw us walk in, she smiled like we were family. "You came back," she said to Oliver, "and brought your father." "How did you know?" Oliver asked. "I can tell. You walk the same." She turned to me. "Mr. Ashford, James told me about you, all that money spent trying to heal your boy." I bristled. "And I suppose you think you can do what the best doctors in the world couldn't?" "I don't think anything. I just pray and trust God with the rest. My son said you made him see light. I prayed. What happened after that wasn't me. This is insane. Light doesn't work that way. Vision doesn't work that way. She tilted her head, studying me. You spend all this money on science but never thought to try faith? Faith doesn't regrow nerves. Maybe not. But maybe healing isn't always about body parts. Sometimes it's about opening something else. She knelt in front of Oliver. Child, can I pray for you again? Oliver nodded, eager. Helen placed her weathered hands on his face, covering his eyes gently. She spoke in a low voice, words I couldn't quite hear, praying in a language I didn't understand, then switching to English, asking for healing, for sight, for a miracle. I stood there feeling foolish and angry and desperate all at once. Then Oliver gasped. I see it again, the light. It's brighter this time. Helen kept praying, her voice rising. The room felt different, warmer, like the air itself was holding its breath. Oliver's hands flew to his eyes. It's getting bigger. I can see shapes. Dad, I can see shapes. I moved forward, but James caught my arm. Wait. Helen prayed harder, her whole body shaking now. Other people in the center had stopped what they were doing and were gathering around us, some of them praying too. Then Oliver screamed, not in pain, in shock, pure shock. He stumbled backward, hands still over his eyes, and I caught him. Oliver, what's wrong? He pulled his hands away and looked up, right at me. His eyes, which had always been unfocused and distant, locked onto mine. Dad, he whispered. Dad, I can see you. The room went silent. That's not possible, I said, but my voice cracked. You're tall, and you have lines on your face, and your eyes are blue, blue like calm, like deep breathing. He looked at his own hands, turning them over and over. I can see my hands. I can see. Helen stepped back, tears streaming down her face. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you. I couldn't move, couldn't speak. My son was looking at things, pointing at the lights overhead, at the people around us, at the posters on the wall, drinking in the world with eyes that shouldn't work. This isn't real, I said to no one. This can't be real. But Oliver was reading the words on a sign across the room, describing the color of James's shirt, counting his own fingers. James was crying. Helen was praying. Everyone in that center was witnessing something impossible. My son could see. I demanded answers, dragged Oliver back to Dr. Kim's clinic the next day, and demanded she run every test again. She did, confused and skeptical. The scans showed optic nerves where there had been none, retinas that had formed overnight, connections in his brain that hadn't existed 48 hours ago. Dr. Kim stared at the images like they were personally insulting her. I've never seen anything like this. Nerve regeneration doesn't happen this fast. It doesn't happen at all with this kind of damage. Mr. Ashford, what happened? I told her about Helen, about the prayer. She didn't laugh, but her expression said she wanted to. There has to be a medical explanation. Maybe the original scans were wrong. Maybe... I have 8 years of scans from a dozen different facilities. They all showed the same thing. My son was blind, now he's not. And the only thing that changed was an old woman praying in a community center. She had no answer for that. None of them did. The media got hold of the story within a week. Billionaire's blind son healed by prayer ran on every news site. Some called it a miracle, others called it a hoax. Medical journals demanded access to Oliver's records. Religious groups claimed proof of God. Skeptics screamed about fraud and planted stories. I didn't care about any of it. My son could see. He spent hours just looking at things, trees, sky, his own reflection. Every moment was a gift I'd stopped believing in. But something else was happening too, something that made my stomach turn. Helen's community center was flooded with people seeking healing. Hundreds of them, thousands. People with cancer, paralysis, blindness, everything you could name. They came desperate, hopeful, demanding miracles. Helen prayed for all of them, every single one, until she collapsed from exhaustion and had to be hospitalized. None of them were healed. Not one. The crowds turned angry, called her a fraud. said Oliver's healing was a trick, staged for my money. The neighborhood turned on her, spray-painted fake on the center walls, threatened her life. I watched it happen on the news from my penthouse, safe and far away. Watched this woman who gave my son his sight get destroyed by the very miracle I'd begged for. And I did nothing. Because if I stepped in, if I publicly defended her, people would dig deeper. They'd ask questions about James, about how we found Helen, about why a billionaire trusted a poor kid from the streets with his blind son. They'd find out the truth I'd discovered 2 weeks after Oliver was healed. The truth James finally admitted when I pressed him. Helen was his grandmother. James broke down in my office when I confronted him. "I'm sorry, Mr. Ashford. I didn't plan any of this. I didn't know she could heal people. When Dr. Kim said there was nothing she could do, I thought of Grandma. People in our neighborhood always said she had a gift, that her prayers were different. I wanted to help Oliver. So you took my son to your grandmother without telling me who she was?" "Yes, sir. I thought you'd say no if you knew." "You're right. I would have." I paced behind my desk, anger and gratitude warring inside me. "James, do you understand what you've done? Your grandmother is being attacked because of this. People want to hurt her." "I know. And it's my fault. I should have kept quiet. Should have told Oliver to keep quiet. But he was so happy, Mr. Ashford. For the first time, I saw him just be a normal, happy kid. I couldn't take that away from him. I looked at this kid who had nothing, who'd risked everything, who'd given my son the one thing I couldn't buy. "Why did you do it? Really?" James met my eyes. "Because I know what it's like to watch someone you love suffer and not be able to help. My mum died when I was 16. Cancer. We couldn't afford treatment. Couldn't afford anything. She was in pain every day and I was useless. Just watched her fade away. When I met Oliver, when I saw how much you loved him, even though you didn't know how to show it, I couldn't watch another kid suffer if there was even a chance Grandma could help." My throat tightened. "Your grandmother can really heal people." "I don't know. She's prayed for hundreds of folks over the years. Some got better, most didn't. She always said it wasn't up to her, that God decided who got healed and when. I think Oliver was meant to be healed. And everyone else showing up now, demanding it like it's their right, that's not how it works." "Then how does it work?" James shrugged, looking lost. "I don't know, Mr. Ashford. I really don't." The attacks on Helen got worse. Someone threw a brick through her window. Death threats filled her mailbox. The community center had to close because the crowds were too dangerous. Oliver noticed. He asked why the lady who gave him his eyes was being hurt. Asked why we weren't helping her. I had no good answer. My company's board was pressuring me to distance myself from the controversy. Bad publicity, stock prices, lawsuits if people thought I'd endorsed some faith-healing scam. They wanted me to release a statement saying Oliver's healing was natural, unrelated to Helen, possibly misdiagnosed to begin with. They wanted me to throw her under the bus to save my reputation. I almost did it. Had my PR team draft the statement, read it over 3 times. All I had to do was sign. Then Oliver walked into my office holding a drawing. He'd been drawing non-stop since he could see, making up for lost time. This one showed 3 stick figures. One tall labeled Dad, one small labeled Me, one in the middle labeled James. "We're a team," Oliver said. "James brought us to Miss Helen. Miss Helen helped me see. And you made it all possible by hiring James. We're all connected." I looked at my son's drawing and felt something crack inside me. I'd spent 8 years trying to fix him with money and medicine because I couldn't accept him as he was. But James, who had nothing, accepted Oliver immediately. Loved him immediately. Took him to his own grandmother because he wanted to help, not because he wanted something in return. James gave out of poverty. I'd hoarded in wealth. And now I was about to abandon the woman who gave my son a miracle because helping her might cost me something. I picked up the phone and called my lawyer. "I need you to draft a new statement, and then I need you to do something else." The press conference was packed. Every news outlet in the country sent cameras. I walked onto that stage knowing half the world thought I was a fool and the other half thought I was part of a scam. I didn't care anymore. My name is Robert Ashford, and 3 months ago my son Oliver was healed of blindness. Every medical test confirms this. His eyes, which did not work, now do. I've spent 8 years and more money than most people can imagine trying to make this happen through science. Science failed. Then a poor woman named Helen prayed for my son and he was healed. I don't understand it. I can't explain it. But I will not deny it. And I will not stand by while she's destroyed for giving my son the greatest gift of his life. The questions erupted immediately. Shouted accusations, demands for proof, suggestions that I'd paid Helen to stage the whole thing. I held up my hand. I'm not here to debate what happened. I'm here to announce that I'm founding the Helen Foundation, a charitable organization that will provide free medical care, housing assistance, and community support to the neighborhood where Helen lives. The neighborhood that James comes from. The neighborhood I ignored my whole life while I built my fortune. I'm also personally covering all legal costs if anyone wants to sue Helen for fraud. And I'm buying the building her community center operates from and gifting it to her free and clear. More shouting, more questions, I ignored them. One more thing, James, Helen's grandson, has been accepted to a full scholarship program I'm creating at the university. He'll study medicine if he wants, or anything else he wants, because he gave my son something I couldn't, and he deserves a chance to build a future. He learned that from James, from Helen, from people I thought had nothing to teach me. I was wrong about so many things. Wrong about what mattered. Wrong about what was possible. Wrong about who deserved my attention and respect. But I'm learning. Every day I'm learning, and when my son looks at me now with those impossible healed eyes and smiles, I see something else too. I see forgiveness. For all the years I tried to change him instead of cherishing him. For all the times I chose clinics over conversations. For all the moments I missed because I was too busy trying to buy a miracle instead of watching one grow up in front of me. Oliver forgives me. Helen forgives me. James forgives me. Now I just have to learn to forgive myself. The media still calls it the miracle that divided a nation, the healing that split believers from skeptics, the impossible event that everyone interprets differently. But for me, it's simpler than that. It's the day a poor boy taught a rich man how to see. And the day a father learned that the greatest gift you can give your child isn't sight. It's trust. It's love. It's believing in them exactly as they are, while still hoping for every beautiful thing they could become. My son was born blind. A poor boy did something unthinkable, and now we both can finally see what matters. That's not just a miracle, that's grace. The greatest poverty is not lacking money, but lacking the willingness to see the humanity in those who have less than you. Sometimes the answers we desperately seek cannot be bought with wealth, but are freely given by those who have nothing material to offer. Real power lies not in controlling outcomes through resources, but in having the courage to trust what cannot be proven or guaranteed. We often spend our lives trying to fix the people we love, instead of simply loving them exactly as they are in this moment. The world reveals its deepest magic to those humble enough to learn from people they once thought had nothing to teach them. True healing sometimes requires us to surrender our need for control and accept help from the most unexpected places. What we perceive as tragedy or limitation in our lives may actually be the pathway to discovering our most important purpose. Giving out of poverty carries more spiritual weight than giving out of abundance because it requires genuine sacrifice and faith. The measure of our character is revealed not in how we treat those who can benefit us, but in how we defend those who cannot. Forgiveness begins when we finally accept that love was always more powerful than our carefully constructed plans to earn it. Dear friends, what you just saw is only one part of the bigger picture. In the next video, I'll reveal the twist no one saw coming, so make sure you're here when it drops. I would love to know what you would have done in this situation. Drop your thoughts below. I'll be reading every single comment. Thank you so much for watching. I love you so much, and don't forget to give this video a like, hit the subscribe button and share with someone who needs to hear it.